Hi, I'm Natalie, and I'm a recovering perfectionist. Growing up, I used to be a very type A personality. I was involved in just about everything that I could be. I was a straight A student since second grade, since that one time I got a B in gym, and I had above a 4.0 GPA all through high school. I was a dancer, in color guard, and on dance team, and I just extended myself to everything that I possibly could. I'm the co-president of the National Honor Society, I'm part of the National Art Honor Society, and I'm in most of the clubs in this school. It seems great until you lose yourself. I got caught up in a whirlwind of all these different activities and expectations and resume builders. High schoolers these days are taught that more equates better, and we all want to do more and be more in this world. And this is all great until you stop taking care of yourself. And that's when I developed an eating disorder. I always thought that anorexia was reserved for the Karen Carpenters of the world, the ones who are emaciated and literally on their deathbed. But I was painfully wrong. I thought that in this spinning whirlwind that was my crazy and awesome life, that I needed to gain control over something. And for me, that was my body and what I ate. And I saw all these media messages about the perfect diet and how to work out to get the flat abs and thigh gap of your dreams. And I got caught up in it, and it slowly became obsessive, and I wanted it to be perfect just like everything else. And it slowly started to deteriorate my life. And I became a shell of the girl that I used to be, and I was miserable. And I needed to seek treatment. So I left school for 12 weeks during my junior year in order to get better. And it was the hardest thing that I've ever done. I sat in the office of my therapist, and I was like, how can I leave school? How can I leave dance? You're asking me to not move. You're asking me to sit on the couch and eat Cheetos. Like, how am I supposed to do this? And they were like, Natalie, you are so sick. You need to take a break. And so reluctantly, I did, and it saved my life. And after 12 weeks, I was physically better enough to come back to school and devote myself to my academics again. But I was still struggling mentally. And I slowly relapsed, and we knew that I was going to need to go to treatment again. But this time, it was a longer process. I spent my summer, not long ago, in Miami, and it was beautiful, but it was also terrible. I was in a residential treatment center with 6 other girls, and we were asked to do so much and so little at the same time. Every day we woke up and we ate breakfast, and then we had therapy, and then we had a morning snack, and then we had more therapy or some other type of group exercise, and then we had lunch, and then we did some crying and some screaming into pillows, and then we had another snack, and then we had yoga, and then we had dinner, and then we went back to our townhouse and hung out, and then we had to eat another snack, and then we went to bed. And this was every day for almost 2.5 months. And it was exhausting, but it was exhausting because for the first time in years, I had to reflect on myself. And I was wondering, I'm like, how am I ever going to get out of this? Because I need to be perfect. I can't walk around and have bigger legs and stomach rolls, and what is going to happen? Like, I can't do that. I'd rather be dead. And I had to come to the realization that it wasn't my body that was the problem. It wasn't my eating habits that were the problem. It was my perfectionism. So what is perfectionism? It's the refusal to accept any standard short of perfection. For a while, I even denied that I was a perfectionist. I would say something along the lines of, I have a 94 in Calc BC right now. How could I be a perfectionist? I'm not even trying that hard. And just that saying shows how deeply ingrained and ridiculous it is. Everyone in our society seems to hold themselves to these impossibly high standards, and we believe that our imperfections are our fault. We are taught to think that our frizzy hair or our low IQ or our bad test grades or our wrinkled clothes are something that we are responsible for fixing on a daily basis. And that's wrong. You can't fix something that you were born with that's different from the rest of society. It's something that you have to grow with and learn with and turn into your life rather than trying to run away from it. And that's when the nasty A word comes in. Not that one, but this one. Acceptance. Acceptance is a long process that you have to work on pretty much forever. I mean, I am still accepting who I am and where I am. And when you deal with perfectionism or extremely high standards, you have to work on accepting your flaws just as much as I do. But I have 5 steps to combating perfectionism and turning your life into something that's meaningful and has happiness in it. Number 1, remove the all or nothing mindset. An example of this is, if I don't go to an Ivy League college, I'm dumb. That's ridiculous. There's so many shades in between 2 extremes of thinking, and we tend to get caught up in this all or nothing mindset, like cake is bad and vegetables are good, and there's nothing in between, but that's not true. There's balance, and there's joy, and there's an all-inclusive lifestyle that you can live. Number 2, start saying no. And this seems a little hypocritical because this week has been extremely busy for me. I've had my NHS banquet last night, I have a dance recital this weekend, and I'm very stressed out. But it's a learning experience, and I'm realizing that I need to take my own advice. And saying no is the most important thing that you can do when you're so overwhelmed and so stressed out. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You can't give yourself fully to what you want to do when you are overextended in too many places. So you need to protect yourself and say no to the things that you don't want to do. Number 3, make a gratitude list. This is important when you feel like something is overwhelming, taking over your life, and you feel like it's the end of the world. Like you get an 89 on your chemistry test and you're like, I'm gonna fail out of high school. Not true. If you make a list of all of the things that you're thankful for, like a roof over your head, clean water, a family, legs to walk on, being privileged enough to live in the United States of America and create all that plastic, you will realize that your mountain is actually a molehill, and you can take a step back and a better perspective on what's going on. Number 4, use positive affirmations. I'm sure some of you have heard these and think it might be kind of stupid to stand in the mirror in the morning and be like, I'm pretty, I'm awesome. But positive affirmations for me are a calming statement when I'm in a state of terror. Like when you're driving and you realize you're lost and you have no idea what to do and you're like, do I pull off the road? Like what's going on? And you say to yourself, I am strong, I can do this. And that is just a simple phrase, and you say that to yourself when you are in turmoil, and you bring yourself down from that high anxiety, high perfectionistic thinking. Number 5, love yourself. This is a common trend of a lot of the talks that have gone on today. And the reason that everyone is saying it is because it's so true and so important. Because if you don't care for yourself, then you don't let the love of others in. And I experienced this myself when I was going through my struggles. I wasn't letting anyone else into my life. I was so isolated and so sad. But now that I am more open and more generous and more in love with myself, I let the love in. And it doesn't have to be bubble baths and lighting candles and coloring pretty pictures. Loving yourself is taking care of yourself. It means going to bed when you're tired. It means staying home when you're sick. And it means letting others know what you need from them to support you so that you don't get too strung out and end up having more harm done. Brené Brown, a author and shame studier and inspiration, says that perfectionism is a 20-ton shield that we lug around thinking it will protect us when, in fact, it's the thing that's really preventing us from taking flight. So if you take anything home tonight from this talk, is that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be everything to everyone because you can't be. It's not physically possible. So this is your permission to take a rest, take a break. Ask for a break. Email your teacher and ask them to turn in your outline a day late, and they'll probably let you do it. If you are genuine and you are taking care of yourself, you are going to live the best life that you can, and that is the most important thing to take home. Thank you.